So, to start off, who was the first person in your family to come to Ashland?
My family has been in the funeral business in Ashland for about 70 years. My grandfather, Henry W. Dabney, started F.U. Dabney Funeral Home, my father's father. So I would say the answer to that question would be first person that I knew of, that I know of, is my grandfather, Henry W. Dabney.
Right. Where did they live before they started the business, or while they were doing the business?
My grandfather lived over on Route 1 over there in Washington Highway, where the other funeral home is.
Okay. So you kind of grew up in this community around here.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like back then compared to what it is now?
Back then, we called this neighborhood Berkeley Town. And back then, everybody knew everybody. It was like a bunch of kids running around in the neighborhood. And so one of the answer to your question, like today in Berkeley Town, there are a lot of people that don't know each other. When I was growing up in the 70s, everybody knew each other. John and Gandy School had a basketball court up front, and every evening it would be packed with cars lined up and down the street, and then the court full with people. And it was fun growing up in Berkeley Town.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the difference between now and then is the same for all of Ashland, or just here in Berkeley Town?
I would say most of Ashland. There are some communities in Ashland that is kind of like that now. Like on one of them, what we call Business Road, everybody knows each other all up and down that street.
Okay. Was working in the funeral home your first job?
Well, I've always been in the funeral business. I grew up in a funeral home. And so yeah, you could say that my first legitimate job was to Randolph-Macon College in the cafeteria washing dishes under Lester Jackson. He ran the kitchen over there when you probably was a gleam in your parents' eye.
Speaking of Randolph-Macon, do you think that it has had a good effect on the town of Ashland, or it's brought new things and ideas into Ashland?
That's a catch-22 question in my opinion, because I think Ashland should provide more activities or put in more types of businesses to keep you all here on the weekends. So you all, could patron the businesses around. It's not a lot for you all to do. So on the weekends when y'all don't, nothing going on, you see cars up and down the street, down Henry Street, you're going to Randolph-Macon, it's packed, students in the dorms are full. Then you come through here on a regular school year on a weekend, and it's empty.
Right.
Everybody's gone home. They're not hanging around Ashland. Randolph-Macon students. If y'all would hang out in Ashland and go places, go to the coffee house, and go to the Iron Horse, and go break. You can't get in break time. You gotta be 21. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just like nightlife stuff.
Yeah, maybe some nightlife in Ashland. I mean, there's one club, but it should give me maybe something for the students. You got the skate land over there. I couldn't skate. I mean, y'all probably can. But you see where I'm going? I think Ashland should provide more stuff like that to keep the students in town and spending money. And then on the flip side, Randolph-Macon should try to encourage the students to patronize the businesses in Ashland, instead of going to Richmond,
right,
or going home. So that's my thing with that.
Right. Sort of changing the subject a little bit. Did you go to school around here?
Patrick Henry.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Patrick Henry. Went to high school Patrick Henry, then went to J. Sarge for a little while, and then went to John Tower and got my degree in mortuary science and passed my national boards and passed my state boards and running the business. And then my dad died a year and a half ago.
Sorry
so
about that.
my father, I don't know if you've been to my website. Mm-hmm. You have. If you click on About Us, so you read, so you know the story.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So, and I've been around the business all my life, but we was not expecting my father to die, and running the business kind of dropped in my lap because I didn't really do all the aspects of every aspect of it, like dealing with the insurance company, setting up terms for people, collecting money, sending out statements, doing the reporting for the government and just what the state requires, all that kind of stuff. I know how to embalm and I know how to conduct a funeral. So and it's just me and my 81-year-old mother. I have an intern that helps me now. She's from John Tower. She'll be here in a minute. She's in the funeral service program now at John Tower, and she's studying to be a funeral director. She's a big help. Her name is Kim. She'll be here in a minute. What was the question?
Oh, just about your education.
I went to Patrick Henry High School, and I went to J. Sarge for a minute, and then I went to John Tower. I'm thinking about going on to Union. Excuse me one second. We studied, did the 12-month thing, but anyway, but I'm thinking that studying the New Testament and the Old Testament and church doctrine and all those courses that deal with theology, because I believe death is a spiritual thing. Mm-hmm. So me studying in my higher power, I'm a member of Shiloh Baptist Church in Ashland with Reverend Michael Shannon as pastor. Your Deacon Keith is one of my, Mr. Keith.
No, my future roommate goes to Shiloh.
Okay. Yeah, he's the deacon over there. So I'm big on my higher power. So I'm thinking, studying theology and learning more about my higher power, death being spiritual, will make me a better funeral director.
Right. What do you think is the difference between the education you received here and whatever your parents or your grandparents received?
What's the difference in the education I received and my grandparents received? Well, by my grandparents?
Either your grandparents or your parents. So,
what's the question here? What's the difference in the education I received versus my parents and grandparents? Mm-hmm. Number one, back then, racism was prevalent and really in your face. So schools were separated. Blacks had to go here, whites had to go here. They call it separate but equal, but it was not separate. It was separate, but it was not equal. So my parents and grandparents were limited in their education due to racism, and we kind of moved ahead of that. get a lot of, I get a few elderly, well, I get a lot of elderly people, 78, 80 years old, and on the death certificate, on the death certificate where it says, on the death certificate is always the highest level of education. Dude, I picked up the that I have over there now, and I got another one in the ME that I got to go get medical exam in his office. So I got two. That's why I've been running around all morning. But on his death certificate it says highest level of education, and I find that a lot of black folks that's over the age of 75 and 80, their highest level of education was like 4th, 5th grade. I have some files that I'm probably not supposed to show them to you, but probably about 90% of the people, because we bury mostly black folks, I've had 2 white people in the last 3 months. They were cremations, but anyway, probably 90%. 90% of the 90% of the black folks that I get in here that's over 75 didn't make it past the 6th grade. So.
Was there ever a time that you didn't live in Ashland?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you go?
I lived over South Side. Never lived out of Virginia.
Oh, okay.
I've lived over South Side. I lived all over Richmond. I live in Glen Allen now. Just bought a house in Glen Allen. New house. The man cave.
Right.
I got a pool table right in my front room. Anyway,
like my stepdad.
Going back to your father's death, since he was such a kind of big part in the community here, how did the people react and play a part in that as far as Berkeley Town?
To his death?
Mm-hmm.
You know if I smoke? Well, my father's service was at Shiloh. Church was packed. We got the community came out and supported as well. He supported as well because my Uncle Mick, he was a funeral director too, and he died 3 months before Dad. Uncle Mick died in November of 2005, and then Dad died 3 months later. And Dad and Nick ran this place. So I was filing my father's death certificate. My father was buried on a Saturday, and I was filing his death certificate in Richmond on that Monday, and I got my first call. It was a home removal person dead at home. So I had to come back here and get the van and just go. Anyway, and we've been busy ever since.
I can imagine. Did your parents ever tell you any stories about the fun times or maybe not so fun times that they had over here in Ashland?
I'm beginning to find out in my later years that when I was a kid around here in like the 50s and 60s, Berkeley Town, this area. It was like Peyton Place. I'm finding out that so-and-so is so-and-so's child. I didn't know that. You know, they grown old. No, that's so-and-so child. And so-and-so father, so-and-so. I'm like, wow, you know. So, and, so a little bit, I guess that's in every neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, soap opera stuff, you know, that's bold and beautiful stuff. And, we had a man, Mr. Lightfoot, who ran Lightfoot's Bakery. I don't know if he used to cook for the people that ran off Macon sometimes. And, you know, white folks used to come into Berkeley County back then just to go to Lightfoot's Bakery. Yeah, we stuff like that, and certain people that I missed. Mr. Peter was the old man, Mr. Peter Matthews, before they built that house right there. He had an old house right there, right across the street. He never drove a car. Alright, always rode a bike. This man was like 80-some years riding a bike, you know. I remember him, and you know, I can remember you talk about, you asked me about the good times, and just certain people that are gone now comes to mind. Mr. Randolph King, you know that house straight ahead. If you go down the street, if you run right into it, that house right there, as you turn into my, this man, he used to drink, right? He's alcoholic. I mean, every day he would come out on this porch, yelling and shit, and we was just, we weren't paying no attention to him, you know. So, yeah, just the people that are just gone that I remember, you know, Mr. Lester Jackson, of course, who I mentioned, who worked at Randolph Macon, who ran the kitchen in the back. He was a good man, and you know, he would try to get kids who turned 15, get your workers permitted, you know, back then. You know, go see Lester, see if you can get a job at the college. And he'd find you a job if you wanted to work. You know, he was a good man. So anyway, Miss Catherine Burke, I ain't saying this is good, but she lived over there. This is like, I forgot, this was South Kid. But she lived over in this green house off the railroad tracks over there. She killed her husband with a shotgun. I never forget that. And I remember somebody come over. Her daddy went over there. You know, they had to take him to the M. Well, back then they didn't take you straight to the ME. You know, I mean, you shot, you dead. You know who called the funeral director, right? You know. So I think Dad went over there and got her. And but I remember that Miss Catherine, she killed her husband. You know, she went to jail for a couple of years, and she's back out. You know, she's a good lady. Anyway, that stuff like that. We had some students, Glenda Carter, Wanda Carter, another girl. All four of them was in a car. I was at Patrick Henry, and they were 5 of them in the car. 5 Patrick Henry students, and they were killed in a car crash. I remember stuff like that. Anyway.
Were any of your family members involved in the politics around here?
They wanted Dad to run for council, but he didn't. No.
Do you think if your family members, your past family members, have seen or would have seen Ashland today, would they have moved their building or their business to another location? Maybe a bigger community, smaller community?
No, because I've found that, I mean, a lot of folks, they grow up in Ashland, they leave, they move away, they start a family, and they put their roots where they end up. But I've seen a lot of folks, they leave Ashland, they move away, and then they get older and they come back home. You know, Ashland is a nice place to grow up. It's not really country, but if you want it to be, it can. You know, it's not city. You know, you're 16 miles south of the city, if you want to call Richmond a big city. You know, it's not really a big city. You know, and it's a quiet community. Not a lot of crime. Good schools. You know, you got DC to your north. You can get to Atlantic City, and I get Atlantic City in 4 or 5 hours. I don't think about that slot machine. You know, that one-armed bandit. But I think that no, I don't think people would leave because of the way things are today. I think, you know, Ashland is growing. You know, that's one thing they need to watch. If you want to keep the same feel while expanding your horizon or the town's horizon, you know, like South Side. I don't know if y'all get over that Hall Street and turn the road.
I live down in that area.
At 4 or 5 o'clock, between 5 and 6, going up Hall Street in Midlothian between 5 and 6 o'clock. It's awful. You know, 10, 15 years ago, say 15 years ago, way out South Side like that, it was kind of like Ashland. Let's go maybe 20 years ago. You know, it wasn't as crowded, you know what I mean? So, like Chester.
Yeah, that's where my home is.
Where, River City somewhere?
Oh, no, like, where I went to L.C. Bird High School,
Okay.
so that part of Chester.
Okay. You know, like Chester. Chester was a real quiet community 20 years ago. Now,
even 5 years ago, it was quiet.
Now we got the big Rivers Bend subdivision out there, and then they put building up these subdivisions that they put up all around these little communities. They put them up around here in Ashland. I think they gave me a dig ground for one up there past the school. And they put these big subdivisions up around these little towns, and those people, you know, and a lot of them is sad because they'll ride through them, and the only thing they're doing is causing traffic gridlock. But they're not patronizing the business, and they're still going to Richmond or going to DC or somewhere or Norfolk, you know. But they live in a little town. I mean, they live on the outskirts of a little town. Okay, nice big house and a lot. Now they're out in Crew. What the hell is that? You know, and then, but they drive all the way to Richmond to business. This is Kim.
Hi.
Kim, this is, I'm sorry, one is Brandy, and Lena. These are Randolph Macon students interviewing me. Becoming big time now. I had to interview. So I had to sign. They got me signing, or I have to let you look this over. I told them about you, so they already know you're studying to be a funeral director and all. So, yeah, but anyway, you can go on.
How did your family respond to the expansion, either the suburban expansion or like Walmart?
My dad wasn't big on big. He liked small. So, I don't think Dad, well, I don't think he was for or against Walmart, but he wouldn't be big on them putting big subdivision all around Ashland. Mom, she loves Walmart. Stays in Walmart.
We all
That's the thing that ever happened to her. So. Excuse me one second. And we got this in the mail. 12 grand check. And we got to take it immediately over to BB&T and get Amy to set up a trust. And
Are you using a computer? Because I tried to email that to him.
If it did at all, how did the civil rights movement affect your parents or grandparents?
The civil rights movement.
As far as like Ashland,
Yeah.
do you think it was similar to other places or not as bad, worse?
The big effect for Ashland was the integration of schools. Because you all never went to a segregated school. I did. I'm telling my age now, right? I did. When I first, they integrated schools, I was in third grade. I had to go to Henry Clay. Okay, you know where Henry Clay is?
Yeah.
But first grade and second grade I was in segregated. I went to John Gannett. Really, to me, didn't have that much of an impact around here, other than you couldn't walk home for lunch. If you got mad, just leave and go home, like I did in first grade. Got my ass beat. Went back to school and got beat by the teacher. The parents beat me, then the teacher beat me. And it was back then, you got the paddle hanging up on the wall and stuff. You know, principal had a big paddle.
Teachers could do that back then?
Hell yeah.
I had a preschool teacher and a ruler. She used to break it on the paddle.
She used to be a teacher. She told me she used to beat those kids.
No, I wish I could. So you need that paddle on some little grade level.
Kim graduated from ODU. She used to teach school. She got tired and wanted to deal with. She couldn't deal with the living, so she wanted to deal with the dead.
Do you think it affected your parents any?
What?
Fear?
The civil rights movement? Back then, it was a lot going on, and by us being in Ashland, we was, away. You talking 67, 68. The civil rights legislation was passed by Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson was president during about 67, 68, right? So here, we were just chilling. We went into a lot of, older guys, teenagers tried to be bad. We had the afro, all the movies out and all that stuff. But, we didn't really have a lot of, racial issues around here. But we was in tune to what was going on outside of us, So, it didn't really affect, other than school. Because really, they might have passed the legislation, but everything was already still cut and dry. racism didn't change racism. Okay, so you still, you know, black folks worked here, white folks worked here. You know, black folks frequented here, white folks frequented here. You know, the only thing is the kids are going to school together now. But then even at Patrick Henry, when I went to Patrick Henry in high school, and it wasn't designated, but you had the black boys, the bathroom where all the black guys hanging out, and outside in the bathroom where all the white guys hanging out. The bathroom where all the black girls hanging out, and the bathroom where all the white girls hanging out. And the white boys knew not to go in the black boys' bathroom. And they'll catch you in there. And the brothers knew not to go in the white boys' bathroom. And same with the girls. It was just because once you, in society, you used to a certain way all the time doing it. It's like communism and Hitler and all that. You used to do it. The people get in tune to that. So just because the laws change don't mean that the people are going to stop thinking that. That's just how it was.
Schools are still kind of that way.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At our pep rallies at my high school, it was so segregated.
Yeah.
But nobody told us to go separate ways. It's just how it ended up.
Yeah. It's a thinking.
Right.
And I was watching Jeremiah Wright's interview on CNN yesterday. Did you see it? Obama's pastor.
Oh, I saw bits and pieces of that.
Okay.
I don't know his name.
He spoke to the NAACP in Detroit, and then he spoke, and then he was interviewed at the press club in Washington. And one of the things he said was that still 11 a.m. Sunday morning is the most segregated time in America. You know, 11 o'clock when people go to church.
Yeah.
You know, and that's still true to this day because of the thinking. Now, I mean, I'm weighing that. Is that right or is that wrong? Or does people, you know, people want to go to where they want to go, or people want to be around. I don't know if that's, you know, bad thing. If people choose to go to another church, I'm going to go to the black folks' church today. That's fine. And then most black people in a church today will open you around. Here, we'll welcome you, will open up. And vice versa. If a black person, let's go to the white people church, see what's up. You know? And go in there, and I'm sure white folks will welcome the black in their church with open arms, you know? So, you know, I think the thinking is changing finally, and that's a good thing, you know? So, she'll tell you I'm very long-winded.
That's cool.
Have you ever been to any of the community events like the Strawberry Festival?
Big time in Ashland event is your favorite? Or which holiday around here is your favorite?
Christmas.
Christmas? Because we've heard Halloween, people are excited about Halloween and things like that, so.
Halloween, what we used to do when I was a kid, because back in the day, you didn't have this whole large police force. You know, with this woman, anyway. She had about 1 or 2 cops in Ashland, on the Ashland Town Police, and then you had the Randolph Macon campus cop. And we always used to mess with the Randolph Macon campus cop because he always used to try to ride down through Burgertown and back. So on Halloween, we would get eggs. And we go looking for him. He always ride through, and he'd ride through, and we egg the Randolph Macon police car and run. And he'd be running all around here, and he couldn't find us. So that's what we used to do. Halloween. Every Halloween, that's it. We egg the Randolph Macon cop car when he ride through. So eggs out, egg.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. So it's
Don't give y'all no ideas.
Oh, no.
I be reading the paper. Yeah, y'all don't want to do that now. Get the pop and hit the street for some eggs.
So what did you do for Christmas? Or would you...
Around here?
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid or now?
Both.
Well, when I was a kid, Christmas was big deal for me, and I always get excited. And we'd go, back in the day, I'd go next door. She's not living anymore. The whole house is gone. We'd go over to Faith's house. I'd go over to Leon's house. I'd go over to my cousin's house, and everybody would go over each other's house, and we'd be running around and just having a ball. It was fun. Everybody knew each other. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, every house on the block, everybody knew each other. And it was fun. It was a good time.
So do you see Berkeley Town like regaining what it was with everybody knowing each other? Do you think that as the years go on that we'll all, like, everybody will be strangers around here?
We'll be strangers.
Right.
Be strangers. Because one of the things that I don't like and my cousin is a real estate broker, and he's in a lot to blame, is that they buy these houses around here, right? And they either tear them completely down, called flipping them, and then build another house, right? And make the price of the house $375,000, $400,000, $500,000. Can't nobody in Berkeley Town afford no $400,000 house. Why can't someone come in here and if there's a house that needs to be redo it, and make it affordable for maybe some of the people who have lived around here all their lives that might want a new home but want to stay in Berkeley Town. Or why don't someone come in and if they want, but they want to buy up these houses and just knock them completely down or redo them and then put them up at a price where the people who live here all their life can't afford.
Right.
That is, I guess that's good business. You know what I mean? And I guess it makes the value of the neighborhood larger. All those things is good like this, and your value of your property will rise if this property over here is, what I mean? What about the people?
It takes away from the community.
Wouldn't say that. If it takes away from the community as a whole, but no one's thinking about, the people in the community. That's what I'm saying. So, that's just my opinion. Anytime that you revitalize the community, they say it's better for the community. But one thing about revitalization, it's going to bring in an outsider, so it's not going to work. Why can't somebody come up with a revitalization plan that serves the people who have been a part of the community? You know what I'm saying? And that's hard because you're giving up money then. You could make this amount of money, but if you do that, you might just make this amount of money. So, and that's just me.
Do you think this kind of renovation is the same as like what they're doing in the city as far as maybe like Churchill, where people have lived there a while and now these VCUs?
Same thing. It's the same thing.
Right.
I ain't never seen so many white folks in Churchill in my life.
Yeah, I know. My dad moved into his aunt's house over there, and it's not the same over there anymore. So
what happened to the people in Churchill that lived there all their life? They gone and living somewhere else. But it's the same thing that I'm talking about, and back in the day, probably everybody around in this area in Churchill knew each other. I mean, today, you know, it's not like that. Again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You know, it depends on the community, but what developer knows a community? You know, so.
Do you think that when people think of Ashland, they don't really realize that there is this little community back here?
No, they don't. They don't know about the birthday town. Yeah.
I'm outside from Ashland.
Yeah. They come to Ashland. They know Randolph-Macon College. They know the coffee house and the Iron Horse restaurant. And maybe Pat Henry from high school going through Ashland on a Friday night doing football season, basketball season. Now, another thing, Randolph-Macon, because you got some colleges, like Georgetown and DC, and I guess VCU, they got little shops that they call pizza, Randolph-Macon Pizza Spot. Randolph-Macon College ice cream stove, something. You know what I mean? I mean, that'll maybe attract some of the residents into this college to patronize the school by patronizing their businesses at the school. You know what I mean? Shopping at the college to buy stuff. Then maybe some of the students will come out and shop at this, you know. Because, you know, a lot of colleges have little businesses like that on the campus that, you know, outside. It's like Fort Lee. It's not a college or army base, but a lot of people that know, you got to know somebody in the military to go on to Fort Lee to go shopping.
Yeah.
You know, but that's an army base that has
they have everything.
Everything. Yeah. You know, so, you know, that's just me.
One thing I've learned from just growing up around here and then hearing you say what you think, I see that there are definitely two different sides where some people want to keep Ashland as small as possible and not build any new shops, but then you say that Randolph-Macon or Ashland itself needs stuff to keep the Randolph-Macon students here. Why do you think there is that difference?
Run that question by me again now?
As far as those who want to keep Ashland a smaller town without newer influences, and then people like you want to bring stores in or just renovate them so that they do patron more to the students.
Right. I'm thinking what my statement was is that Ashland should try to keep the students. You know, Ashland should try to provide avenues for the students to patronize.
Right.
You know, not build up a lot of shops for every and anybody. I'm saying because Randolph-Macon College is, you know, that's a market in Ashland, a big market.
And it's going to Richmond.
Going to Richmond. Weekends, can you come through here on the weekend? You come through. Yeah, gone. Y'all hang around, y'all gone. You know. So what's the question again? One more time.
Why do you think there are two different views?
Like, why do you think some people would be a little more resistant to trying to keep us here, and then against people who want to encourage us to spend our money here? You know, like spend more time in Ashland.
I guess because they don't realize the potential in having such a plan. You know, a revitalization plan like that, if you will. That targets, that tries to attract the Randolph-Macon student base to patronize more in Ashland and what that potential could be for the town. they're not thinking along, they're not thinking out the box, they're not thinking ahead, they don't have the vision or a vision at all. You know, they just want to be able to get to U crops without having to go through a lot of traffic. They don't want a lot of traffic either. I mean, y'all already here. So I don't think that targeting that customer base would affect the town as far as traffic wise, because y'all already here.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all walk
Yeah.
to the spot, ride the bike. You know what I mean? So that's my answer to that. You know.
Do you think you'll ever be involved in any of the town politics?
Me?
Like the board or anything?
No, they tried to get me on this what was it, the beautification of Ashland. The only thing I've seen is they fixed the clock on the bank by the railroad tracks and they put these yield signs up for pedestrians. Miss Flanagan, I mean, she's a nice lady and everything, but I just didn't want to be committed to anything that I didn't think I would be. If I commit to something, I'm going to, you know, be there and do a lot of talking.
Right.
Oh, come on, ask me some more.
Well, I have a personal question. Do you, because I asked my stepdad if, like, maybe he's heard of you. Do you know E.W. Green?
E.W. Green.
He's from Charles City, but he's come, like...
He's a contractor?
No. He's not. I'm not sure about any of his brothers or what his dad did or anything.
Oh, no, I don't know.
He likes to come up here, like, they come to visit me, but they just like to go at seasons to the donut place. They don't really like to come and visit me.
If I come to Ashland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just that.
I don't know. Have you heard of me?
I think he might have. He knows, like, he's heard of all kinds of people. He's got an amazing memory.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like my dad. When I told him who I was interviewing, he said that he knew your dad or something. But where did your parents grow up? Were they in here?
My dad grew up in Ashland. And my mom is from Doswell.
Wait, who I know? Cut Cole, does she know him?
Who?
This guy named Cut Cole.
Cole? I know some Coles in Doswell.
Yeah. He used to teach at John Marshall and Henderson with my dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's your dad's name?
Ira Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from Churchill area.
You went to John Marshall?
He taught there in Henderson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's taught all around here, mainly in all the black schools.
Okay. Cool. That it?
Yeah.
Thank y'all.